Well, we told you, we're doing relationships. Mama V, look, quite interesting the story we have.
Yeah, one that is really real. We can all relate if we want to be totally honest to ourselves. Unless you haven't been in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. So here's the letter that we received on Dear AM. If you're just joining us, well, this is the letter we're addressing today. Here we go.
Dear AM, I have fallen out of love with my wife and I do not know what to do about it. See, my wife hasn't wronged me. We've been married for 10 years and have 3 beautiful kids, 2 boys and a girl. I do not know how this happened, but I don't feel the connection or vibe anymore. My wife is still beautiful, even of her 3 kids, and still treats me like a king, but I don't feel the same way towards her, and it's not as if I've been cheating or I am cheating. This out of love feeling has been there for like 2 years now, and it has affected our sex life too. Dear AM, I do not want to lose my wife or mess up my marriage, so please help me. King in Sawem.
And that's the letter we got from Kin in Sound. First of all, Kin, thank you very much for opening up. We appreciate the fact that you've come forward. It's something that we all feel, you know, at one point or the other, but we're not bold to talk about it like you have been to write us this letter, so we appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah,
I needed
definitely.
to say it.
I think people experience varying degrees of the highs and lows in relationships. And I talked about when we're on about the product life cycle. So you have the initial stages, then you have the growth and the maturation stage, and then the decline stage. Now it's the same for relationships as well, because the excitement is always there from the pre-commitment stage, that is the marital and putting the band stage. And then ultimately after the first year, 2, you tend to experience difficulties either in lapses in communication or just a clear misunderstanding of each other, and sometimes conflicts relating to values, virtues, and ethics that usually will become very much pronounced when the 2 of you are in one room. You know, the difficulty is that when you go out, you have to come back and meet the same face. The person has the same complexion. The person you're living with have to monitor your calls, your conversations, will have to monitor what you eat, how really they get to know your daily routines are, and sometimes they can be bizarre. And so when the story was first put on the platform by the producer, the thing that struck me was that the story is true, but it's bizarre. And that's where people go to the extremities when they can't handle the periods where I call the fallow period. And it's where everything seems to be numb, being experienced by either side. And the interesting thing is that you don't experience it at the same time. When you experience it at the same time, then it becomes quite difficult as to how the 2 of you can put the effort together. But this one, you can clearly see that it's Ken who is experiencing it. So he's been able to, interestingly, come out to say, look, this is what I'm experiencing. For me, that gives an indication that he has a latent commitment on his mind, but it's that lethargy or the layback approach that he feels he's worried about. And so he wants to do some sort of recommitment by stating it. Him stating it, I feel, is a way to say that I want to recommit. Many of the times, you get to find that the other partner is in a dark place because he or she may be all out and feels that I'm giving my all, but just can't read in between what really is going in the mind of this gentleman or or lady that I'm living with. And that can be very hard and a bit difficult for you to experience. I think they need to speak to somebody who will bring some sort of a revival by way of the solutions that they offer.
I am also thinking that the fact that Ken is aware of the situation, he probably doesn't even need a third party, but you know, with in terms of the strategies that people would give, he can just pick up 1, 2, 3 and start, you know, using it. If you didn't know you were experiencing something, then that would be like a tragedy. But the fact that you're even aware Because there are people who are going through that who don't even realize that this is what they're going through.
Exactly.
I think that's more dangerous.
Okay. Yeah, you know why? The reason why Ken perhaps is writing to us is because he needs the third party, I think.
Okay, so let's share some of your messages. Nene, Niache. I hope I got that. This is Lower Manya. I don't want to get it wrong. That's where half of me comes from.
Yeah, Niache.
Okay, all right, great.
It should be correct.
Advice to Ken, he should try changing the location of their sleep every weekend. For just a month, and trust me, their sex life would improve. Sometimes it's boring sticking to and sharing the same bed for 10 good years. All right, you're an NPP communication officer, you say. Thanks for the message that you sent.
You put that there.
Yes.
The message for the relationship.
Yeah, maybe he wants to identify himself. Bambakia Samet in Navrungo.
Yeah, Bambakia, been a while.
Forever. Says, concerning the letter, I think he should inform the wife about how his feeling of late. I believe that there's always something that makes the love fade off gradually and unnoticed until it comes to light. If the wife is aware of this, out love feelings, she will help you work on it only if she does not feel the same way you do. Else, both of you will be living under the mercy of the children and not as a couple. Thank you very much, Bambakia, for your message as well. Here's another one says, okay, no, let's see. Okay, here we go. Sometimes it happens as a result of one, financial pressure in the house and from the family. Two, if one is not meeting his goal in life. Three, when one starts to compare himself with his old mates or friends and how they have moved on in life. I will advise him to have a second look at his fingers. From Alvin Ali Manso Amenfi in the Western region. Another one says, my name is Kemson from Bamboy. I think the very truth of the matter is sex. Maybe the woman has increased in size, or some married women too do not keep their private parts tidy after marriage, so there should be post-marriage counseling to help in maintaining and keeping marriages. Very thought-provoking and insightful piece. Good morning. Happy New Year to multimedia. Not forgetting you, AM show host. Well, we thank you very much, Kipson, for this message. Roland?
Yeah, so we have Kevin on the line, Mama V.
Oh my God, I can't believe this is our first conversation and is on air. It was Kevin Annan is a counselor and convener of the Singles in 3D Summits and Creative Couples Conclave. Apologies that I'm saying Happy New Year via this means. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Mama V, and good morning, Roland. I wish I to all of you.
I think compared to him.
Oh.
How are you?
I'm within the bounds of grace.
Great. I sent you a message. You didn't reply on New Year's Day.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Roland,
we're not going to settle the score here.
I have to respond to as many as.
Oh, I understand. I'm sure that you had tons
I'll dig it up. I'll dig it up and then respond.
Oh my God, Roland is smart.
I have like 400 outstanding messages.
I know. I understand. I understand.
Forgive me.
I'll just delete it. I think after WhatsApp
don't delete.
has delete for.
I'll dig it out. I'll dig it out and respond. I have to do the needful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I have a feeling this guy is playing a smart one.
Oh.
But let's look at the letter.
Mama B, she's trying to get to parity. We will ignore that.
It's true. Kevin, it's good that you're on the same. And one on
Charlie. I see I'm alone. But I'm not alone on Ken's letter that he wrote to us. And this morning, even as we started with the show, when we're doing the newspapers, people were sending us messages. People were giving us different strategies. But what's your appreciation of the letter that Ken has written?
Well, it is not uncommon in recent times, especially when we are having what is described as no-cause divorce. There are so many individuals who get into the state of divorce, and sometimes when you go into the issues, you ask them, oh, there's nothing. He has done nothing. She has done nothing. But I just want to move away from it. And the question would be, in Ken's specific case, you would notice that he gives out some indicators, which is what we need to give attention to. First and foremost, he talks about falling out of love. That presupposes that he fell in love. If you compare that with people who grow in love, what they end up doing is they nurture love, they let it grow naturally, and it has a greater chance of surviving turbulence and pressure. I've always maintained that if you fall in love, it is easy to fall out of love. But I know that for others too, they use that language just to imply that love had begun. So I'll grant him that it was love that had begun. But when love begins, it has to be nurtured, it has to be protected, it has to be improved. We have to review it from time to time. It is said that the unexamined life is not worth living. In the same breath, an unexamined marriage is difficult to pursue. That is why there's a greater advocacy on post-marital enrichment intervention. Activities you do when you have entered into marriage. When you perform the marital rite, you must understand that things would have changed. Now, love before one performs marital rite or gets into a wedding or traditional marriage situation is different from the love you're going to encounter and experience when that has been done. You would notice that the one prior tends to be very spontaneous, very much alive, very energetic, very compulsive, very imposing. But the moment you enter into the union proper, you now have to move away from sentiment to commitment to the choice you have made. You also have to recognize that things will not happen spontaneously as it used to. Now, everything you do has to be intentionally done. This is where people get frustrated, because love is an invitation to labor. So if I say I have fallen in love with you, then I must fortify myself for labor. Unfortunately, we stop that. And for many, the labor would mean that you pursue each other relentlessly. When pursuit of your spouse wins or dies, the marriage will die with it.
I see. There's a message that I have just received, but somebody also sent a similar one. This one starts this way. Mama V, I think it is normal simply because the wife gives him everything. However, he just needs a little tough time from the wife, and then his love will come back. Jealousy makes men love. This is the second time I'm reading a similar thing. Somebody says, let her hang out, sort of with or flirt with somebody else, and then you begin to be jealous, and then it will bring the love back. Is there anything like that?
No. I mean, flirt and flirtatious conduct can be fatal. We have had cases where people's marriages have become stronger after an unfortunate incident of infidelity. But what you should know is that those people didn't set out intentionally to get involved in a flirtatious or an infidelity, but they accidentally strayed into it, made confessions, apology rendered, forgiveness also exchanged. So they have decided that they're going to move on together as a couple.
And the relationship is stronger than before?
Oh, yes. We have had such cases. But you see, that is completely different from one who sets out to go and get him or herself in a state of infidelity with the hope that that will create jealousy and inspire pursuit. That's not possible. Those things are very, very dangerous. It's a gamble you don't want to take, because the outcome does not depend on you. It depends on the other party. Now, Mama V and Roland, there is also something I want to bring in, that no relationship or marriage dies suddenly. It doesn't die suddenly. There are causes that can fuel and foster the death of a relationship. In fact, I recall that in 2013 or 2014, I read a piece written by one Vicky Stark, where she talked about something described as a death knell. And a knell is a bell that is tolled at the death of an individual or when disaster or an imminent destruction is about to occur. Now, she explained it in ways that I think that a lot of individuals need to go back to that. In fact, those who are Christian may have read it in the Bible, where marriage and relationship is put in a picture form and illustrated with gardening or farm or raising a vineyard. Now, nobody raises a farm, a garden, or a vineyard and goes to sleep. You have to tend it. You have to find out some things that need to be pruned off. There are some things that need to be changed, relocated in terms of their positioning so that they can get sufficient sunlight, for instance. So it is with our marriages and our relationships. Failure to water it means that you want it to wither. So the withering of the plant does not suddenly occur. You would see signs. There are telltale signs that occur. There are indicators. There are red flags that may be hoisted. Now, the couple need to sit down and engage in conversation.
So in this case, Ken should tell her, because from the letter it doesn't, I don't see that the wife is aware of what he's going through at least.
Yeah, clearly you can infer from the message that he sent. But I sent to my wife on our wedding anniversary 3 questions, which I would want to recommend to Ken. He needs to chew the cud on this. He needs to regurgitate and speak to himself personally. First and foremost, what was I doing as Ken in the previous days and months and years of our marriage that made the marriage work? That made it what I had dreamt of as marriage. That's number one. Number two, what am I doing presently, which I didn't do in the past, but if continued in the present, will create the same condition I have right now? He needs to look at that. And the third thing is this: what do I see as ideal or something admirable done in marriage, which, if introduced in his marriage, would change the outlook of his marriage? These are new things, innovative things, creative things, things that he adjusts to do so that the marriage will have a new life of its own. You see, sometimes we think that is the other party, but you see, we ourselves may be brooding over an internal struggle that we haven't been able to address or even sometimes even describe. And that is why we get into a state where there's no chemistry, there's no connection between the spouse, courtesies die, there's no compassion for your spouse, you can't have conversations that last a longer time, companionship has been relegated to the background. When you have such a situation, you can't fault it all on the other party. You've got to do a personal review. He could also flip it over and look at these 3 questions with a lens of reviewing his wife as well. What was she doing in the past that she has stopped? What is she doing now that she needs to stop? What is she not doing that she needs to start? These 3 can really, really help him to do a lot.
Okay, great. So I was just thinking, you know, the deliberateness of the efforts. We hear that men chase. So if you're not Ken, in this case, if you are the woman who is going through what Ken is going through, do you expect, I mean, how do you get, is it the man's responsibility to start the chasing all over because he's not doing it? Or what can you do as a woman?
Well, both husbands and wives need to chase each other. And in mentioning this, I would quickly want to restate something I've said before on your network. And this is a publication titled His Need, Her Need. You see, whenever anybody meets your need, you tend to be hooked onto the person. We all have needs. And the strange thing with needs is that a 6-year-old child has it, 60-year-old person has it. Now, nobody can meet their own need, and that is why you need another to supply to meet your need. Now, and this would be to the wives who are listening. Dr. Willard Harley, in this very, very important publication, mentioned 5 top things that every wife must give attention to. The first one is sexual fulfillment of your husband. The second is recreational companionship. The third is an attractive spouse. The fourth, domestic support. The fifth is admiration. What I hope is that women will excel in this. If you take the sexual fulfillment, he mentioned it in his statement that has changed for the negative. And for men, this is a critical thing. I always say that a good wife, a wife who wants her married, never lets her husband leave home hungry or horny. Because the danger is that there are people out there who are seeking to supply these needs. You've got to give your spouse something that nobody else can give him, something that he looks forward to coming home for. Now, to the husband, wives, according to this publication, have 5 critical needs that every husband must pursue without relenting or reneging on them. The first one is the issue of affection. You see, affection is to wife as sexual fulfillment is to husband. The second one is conversations. I always remark in a satire that the silence of Adam enabled the serpent to engage Eve. There are social media serpents that are seeking to engage our wives and our significant women in our lives. So every man needs to find times for conversation. It could be social media conversation with your spouse, but at any material moment, you've got to speak. Yeah. The third one is honesty and openness. Women want men who are open book. So Ken needs to be an open book in this matter. The fourth one is financial commitment. Solvency is a matter of great concern to women. And the fifth one is family commitment. Now, these areas that I have outlined are areas we can pursue each other, both husbands and wives, because relationships are not a one-sided endeavor. It has always been said that it takes 2 to tango, but I also say that it takes one unhappy spouse or dissatisfied wife or husband or disenchanted spouse to bring about the annulment of an otherwise healthy relationship. It takes only one. It doesn't take the 2.
Wow, this is really deep. I like the outline that you've given, and I think for persons who are watching, for all of us who don't necessarily have what Kin is going through, there's certainly something that we can learn from this. There are also suggestions. So, for instance, somebody is reaching out from Nigeria. He says the man should renovate their living place and change wardrobe for the woman and travel a kind of short vacation. He will be fine. And I've gotten messages on the vacation. I want you to connect it with the Singles in 3D Summits, because that's and the Creative Couples Conclave, which is usually held outside of your home. Yeah. What does these things do also, to marriages and the couple? Some people really don't go anywhere. Like Christmas, they're in the same place. New Year, they're in the same place. Occasions, they're in the same place.
Well, I mean, it's about diversification of your environment and creating dynamic effect, which is fine. But we also need to remember that unless you speak a person's love dialect or love language, they will not respond. And so for that reason, you'll be amazed that just if a person is not driven by aesthetics, for instance, if you change the painting in the house or the lighting in the room, it won't really connect with them. If the person is not the outdoorsy type, taking him or her out would not change anything. In fact, I remember about 10 years ago, I sat with a teenager whose father booked a 3-nation tour for her, and she went to 3 cities in Europe for holidays. And when she came back, she said to me, "My dad thinks that this is how he shows love." So for her, the expenditure is not the issue. It's not the quantum of the expenditure. She's perhaps looking for you to spend quality time with her. And so we need to first encourage Ken, if he's going to do any of those things, first and foremost must look at the type of wife he has, because he has a wife with a certain fabric. Know the fabric you have before you add it onto any type of fabrics. I call it customizing your love. And when we do the singles outing, the point of it is engagement. The singles in 3D is basically singles in dating, singles in dilemma, singles in decision making. So we bring all these categories of singles together for them to engage each other, to interact, that connectivity, that fellow shared experience, shared learning. And you become better because you become what we call a hybridized human being. And hybrid, we know from the agronomy, tend to be disease resistant, high yielding, and they give you more money as a farmer. And so that's the essence of this. When we take our couples on the Creative Couples Conclave, which is this year, we're going to do the 5th edition, and we're taking it to the Volta region. It's going to be awesome. I mean, we're giving it all that God has given us. And we are focusing on 3 critical areas: coupling, conversations, and consummation. We have seen that these 3 things are killing many marriages. How are we coupling as individuals? Are we conversing at all? We speak differently. Somebody wants one line. Somebody wants a whole paragraph. So if you're in conversation, there can be nightmare. One wants it in the morning, the other wants it in the night, or one wants it during the day. So we've got to study each other. And when it comes to consummation, Ken is talking about it, the non-consummation of unions, where it is that we have slacked when it comes to our bedroom issues, intimacy. And when it comes to these things, there are 3 things I look at. First, it is the frequency. Second, it is the intensity. And third is the style. And so the spouses, if they seek to consummate, they need to look at these 3 things: the frequency, the intensity, and the style. And I think at the bridal fair, I shared these 3 things as well. So there's a need for us to do something, yes. But what are we doing? We've got to do what the other party can respond to. If you do anything they can't respond or relate to, it's an exercise in futility. Yeah. And you'll be frustrated that you're doing all you can, and yet the other party is not responding.
Yeah.
But also, everybody needs to understand that when it comes to marriage, there are high moments. I heard Roland talk about it. And there are down times. So what do? When you have high moments, you enjoy it. But when you have down times, you also enjoy it. The situation where I see a lot of people going to marriage and they think it's a walk in the park is very frustrating and painful. Because when there are high moments, we see you enjoying. Why is it that when there are down times, you don't enjoy it? Well, people need to develop that balance, because a false balance is always an abomination.
Yeah. Well, Amos, we have to leave the conversation here. I think we've started off beautifully in 2020. I like this conversation that we're having.
I hope to visit you one of these days in the studio.
Yeah, you should. We should have you in the studio.
Next time I'll get my Skype activated and I can see you.
Great. Great.
And Roland.
Well, thank you very much.
Why is Roland so silent?
You're saying a lot of things that tend to resonate with many people.
You're speaking to him as well. You know, he was.
Okay, so
he pulled
Roland,
out his phone and
3
he was
things you
taking
should
notes.
do. First, accept it, change it, and leverage on it. Okay.
See you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bless.
Well, thank you so much. I think we've been blessed with those words of wisdom that's been shared. Let's all of us learn. That's counselor and convener of the Singles in 3D Summits and Creative Couples Conclave. It's now time for us to hear from you. watching us. So give us a call, 0302-211-69102. And Ken, I kind of have a feeling that we've even solved this. It looks tough when you're not vibing, but it can't happen again. Just try any of the, you know your woman better than any of us. So give us a call now, 0302-211-69102. In the meantime, messages. This one says, marriage without a side chick is like a government without an opposition party. It's always a boring democracy. Only the legends will understand. Vincent Brown, lady at Kwando. You know.
Vincent, I'll come and look for you. Kwando. Which area? Please send the area so that when I come to Kwando, I'll come and visit.
Okay, this one says, good morning, guys. I think the man needs serious counseling from Tefi Prince, Poisse Cement, sending us this message. Well, we've just had the intervention with Kevin, which has been absolutely fantastic. This one, oh, thank you very much for all the nice things you're saying. Esiedu Michael, watching from Jiwenin Kwanta. On your DSTV, you say, please tell, okay, what you're telling me to do is not what we're discussing. So I'm just going to skip that and go to the phone lines. Roland, I think you should do this. Prince.
Okay, so we have Prince from Volta Regional Capital Hall. Prince, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I hope you are doing well.
Charlie, we did. How's Hall this morning?
Oh, it's very fun.
Great. Please contribute to our discussion.
In fact, I love the councillor's contribution to this issue. But what I want you to help me with is, in fact, the first 5 points that you did. I want you to just go over them for me.
Which one? For the men?
But I wasn't
for the men or for the women?
In fact, this will surely help our relationships and our marriages. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Prince. So what Kevin said, and Derek, let's put the 5 pointers there. So I asked the question, men chase. So if you're a woman and you're going through it,
and he's a man.
Then he said this is what both could do. So these 5 pointers for both: the affection, show tangible acts that may communicate, convey, and create affection for our wives. Conversations. What makes conversations such a tough call or chore for husbands? So essentially, I mean, we can't say exactly what Kevin said whilst he was talking, but this is to help you understand. Honesty and openness, what fears tend to erode a husband's desire to be honest and open with his wife. And then the fourth one, financial commitment. What are some concerns husbands have about management of finances at home? And then the final point was family commitment. Identify practical ways husbands and fathers can keep their marriages and families as priority. But he also did indicate this could go the other way as well. So if you're a wife, if you're a woman, you could also, take note of these and also practice. So it's a two-way thing. But thank you, Prince. It was important that we brought it back. We've got Richard calling from Koforidua, Roland.
Yeah, Richard, good morning.
Good morning, Roland.
Yeah, please go ahead with your contribution. And thank you for calling.
Roland, good morning once again.
And Mama V is here as well.
Yeah, you lady look so bright and lovely this morning.
Thank you, Ricardo.
I'm calling from Koforidua, but currently Takrase, a suburb of Kadi.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah. I know Kadi.
Yeah, a lot of oil.
A suburb, Takrase, there's a suburb
yes,
called Takrase.
I know Takrase as well.
Yeah.
All right, that's where I'm talking from. So
Mama V travels, so local, international.
I'm a teacher there at the moment.
Okay, great. All right, please go ahead. Let's hear your pitch.
Okay, madam, the problem is that, you see, the relationship you are talking of now, it may be those young boys, young girls' relationship.
Hey, they've been married for 10 years old.
It could be. I know a certain lady who is in a relationship for 10 years. The lady, excuse me to say, she has not been bathing. She doesn't bath. So all the time there's a problem in the relationship. The husband will be querying the lady all the time. Do you understand? So this relationship, I tell you, the guy at times will not even come home for about 3 days. So if you are talking about this relationship, I don't think this kind of love will be there. But look, Theo, you and Roland, hey, under no circumstances will Roland complain that he is not, he is no more in love with you. No. With 3 kids. Oh yes.
Okay,
look at how
you sound like we're a couple.
Beautiful you people look. Do you understand?
I get
and how can this relationship, fade out? No way. But the relationship I'm talking about.
Okay, Richard, I wanted to just say that You know, it's different when you're friends, and it's different when you're actually married to someone and you're living with the same person.
Oh yeah.
Friendship is different from marriage.
This I'm talking about is also marriage, too.
Okay, but we are not married. Just for
Madam, me myself like that. Oh, you. Thank you very much.
Well, Richard, thank you. We have to.
Thank you.
Thank you for your thought. This is interesting.
Yeah, he's very interesting.
Let's speak to Francis.
Very interesting
Francis
comments.
Yeah. Good morning, Francis.
Let's go to Taddy. Francis.
Hello, Roland.
And Mama V.
And Mama V. Okay. Good morning to you all.
Good morning. Thank you for reaching out. Let's hear you.
I'm much happy for this program this morning.
Thank you.
It has been a fruitful morning watching you guys at the studio there. And we want such program to be held many times, especially the man you spoke to. I normally don't listen to such programs, but this morning it has really touched my heart. And
hello, Francis?
Hello, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, as husband and wife, I think there are certain things we have to do to make our marriage strong. And I hope we have learned a lot and will apply all those things. So thank you once again.
Well, thank you.
Thank you too, Francis.
You're the reason we do this, so thank you very much for watching and appreciating. Let's speak to David Roland.
Yeah, let's go to Ken Kenso.
David, so you cannot do it.
David, please go ahead. Make sure you lower the volume on your sets. I think it could interfere, yes.
So you're a married man, but you're not seeing your wife, and you have no right to engage any other lady. And so you'll be tempted to see your wife. You'll be lying on your bed the whole day, the whole night, and you're not seeing your wife. What do? You have to go to your wife. You don't even know what you say. And so you won't see take distance marriage and work in this context. So
okay, so you're talking about perhaps maybe they need to separate for some short time. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for a short time.
Okay, David, thank you. And Roland,
I
should have bounced that off Kevin, because I have actually received a lot of messages. This one also said he should practice distance marriage, and I wonder what that means.
Well, give yourself some little space.
How? You live with Felicia. That's your home. She works in Accra. You work in Accra. You've got children who are in school in Accra. Where are you going?
Okay, so that's the practical state.
Of course, and your job doesn't require that you are always traveling. You are here.
That's
so what is distance?
That's the difference.
Yeah, how do you move to another bedroom? Like, what is that?
No, but I was giving you the indication that in Europe or elsewhere, where it's
Master, that is soap opera. Let's speak to Pakwesi.
No, people do it.
Charlie, this is real life. Pakwesi, good morning. Hello, Pakwesi, can you hear us?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for holding on. Let's hear you.
What I would say.
Hello, Pakwesi.
Yeah, what I would say is the whole thing is.
We've lost Pakwesi.
No, I don't. Hello, Pakwesi, are you there? Oh,
We've
that's painful. We've lost you.
Him. The director said we lost him. Director, did we lose him?
Apologies. I really wanted us to talk to you. Yeah. We apologize for that.
We apologize.
Yeah.
Well, so this is something that it looks like a lot of people experience it. And we all do experience the highs and the lows in whatever it is that we do. It even occurs even at work. It could be your own enterprise, you're working for somebody, you get to some saturation point.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, you need to reinvigorate. I call it reinvigoration. You need to find yourself. And you can do that in many other ways. And it's all about using the word or the term spicing. So you need to spice it differently. Yeah. Because if your food tastes the same, you spice it a bit, then you come back on track on what you regularly like. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I think we can't add any more to what we've shared, and most importantly, what Kevin Amos has also shared. And we appreciate the comments that you also sent. And the telephone, those of you who were able to reach us on
Through the
telephone.
phones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We appreciate. Obviously, we couldn't take everybody's call. We can't read all the messages.
It's still called telephone, yeah, forgotten.
It is called telephone. So we thank you. Solomon from Techiman, you sent me a message and I've tried to respond in the way. Thank you very much. If you're watching us and you want us to discuss your relationship issue, kindly write to Dear AM. info@myjoyonline.com. info@myjoyonline.com. What we share are real life stories. Because we want this to be as real as possible so we can help all of us, with our relationship issues. Because, Charlie, we're all going through it and we have to be there for each other. That's why we've got Dear AM, your family support program, every Friday on the AM show. So if you've got something you want to share with us, we will take a look at your letter, info@myjoyonline.com, and we will get the right resource person or persons to deal with the issue as well. Ken, I hope that we've done well with this conversation, but if you need further assistance, if you want us to pass on Kevin Amos Anand's number to you, kindly let us know so that we can pass it on to you. But we wish you well with your marriage. 10 years, you've come a long way, and there's plenty more ahead of you. So please don't give up. Our next guest is one who's living the don't give up spirit. She went away. She came back. She's been in the news, particularly this week. She's here on our show. Miss V is live right after this. And if you've got questions for her, I want you to be your conversation with her. She left you. I didn't leave you. So send me the messages so that I can pass it on to her. Stay with us. You're watching the AM show.